So behavioural hacking into our brain is all the craze at the moment. So I thought I'll bring one too. So what do we do? What's a good hack when we're feeling kind of down, we're feeling apathetic, we're not getting up and doing what we want to do, and the world kind of is caving in on us? So behavioural hacks, hacking into that brain. When we're kind of down, when we're feeling low, when we've got that mood that kind of is keeping us heavy and not moving, generally speaking, we become less active. At least that's what happens to me. And when I'm less active, the fewer opportunities there are really for, rewarding things to happen to us. Kind of 1 and 1 equals 2. If I'm not doing anything, if I'm not taking advantage of the opportunities that present themselves to me, then there's less likely chance that I'm going to get that reward from the outside or reward from my brain. And of course, the fewer rewarding things that happen to us, when life is kind of inactive, our mood kind of goes down lower, right? And that's a vicious circle, right? The more low we are, the less we do, and the less we do, the lower we go. And if we're not careful, that can become a practice, that can become something that becomes a habit, and it gets more and more difficult to get out of that. So when that happens to me, I've got a hack to get me out of it. And that hack is a practical one and is full of studies, full of evidence that when we're low, this will get us out. So the first thing we need to realize is that studies have found, right, it's real evidence, that there's a really close relationship between the activity of what we do in our lives and our mood. So when we're feeling pleasant and up, we tend to spend time with people and whose company we enjoy, and we do activities that we find pleasant, and we even take on new tasks and adventures that might even be challenging to us. And all of this has a really good feedback. And when we do things that we enjoy, we get feelings of pleasure. When we challenge ourselves to grow and to develop, it gives us a sense of mastery in our life. And when we have really healthy relationships with other people, we get that feeling of being connected and valued. And that's not only what I found in my own life, but this is what the studies are really proving to us. But the reverse is true also, and that's something that we really need to take into consideration. So when I'm feeling really low and I tend to kind of do a lot less overall, then I'm going to have fewer opportunities that I'm engaging with out there, and so my chances for pleasure and mastery and connection are all reduced. And of course that can fall into that vicious cycle. So one way out of this kind of trap is to just wait passively and wait till our mood changes. Maybe something will happen externally that will just bring us up. But if that doesn't, then that's going to keep us down there, right? So that is kind of a feeling of helplessness, because it's like, well, I can't do anything about it. I'm just going to sit here and wait till I feel better. Now, a big problem with that approach is that we might be waiting for a long, long time. Who says things are going to get better, right? And so left to themselves, that lowness in our mood can just last for months and months, and sometimes in extreme cases for longer. So in order to be proactive, what I do is I try to break that vicious circle. I don't want to get into that habit. And the hack here is that I want to increase the level of my activity even if I don't feel like it to begin with. Right? And this is called behavioural activation in its professional term. And it's a bit of a psychological hack for when we're feeling low and the level of actually do things that have meaning and purpose and have pleasure attached to them, then we get back up and running. So I do that all the time. There's a kind of a regular hack with me, and I really suggest that you experiment with it.
Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman has embarked on a 12-week daily live challenge to disseminate a mixture of knowledge, combining his hand-picked golden nuggets from his personal library together with his decades of experience and learning. He is doing this as a committed action to service his values of contributing and helping others, using himself as the subject of this exercise. Despite his feelings of awkwardness, anxiousness and shame, which usually forms a barrier of uncomfortableness within, holding him back from accomplishing his goals. Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman is an accomplished psychotherapist and clinical social worker with many years of learning and experience. And yet his self-disclosure of his vulnerability and openness is to demonstrate the human condition that we all experience from time to time. Disclaimer: the contents of this podcast, such as text, graphics, images, and other material contained on the podcast, are for informational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your mental health professional or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding your condition. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of some